Bizarre historical events for deep sleep, gentle repetition, sleep learning. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in again, 2, 3, 4, feeling the air cool in your nose, and exhale slowly, 2, 3, 4, 5, warm air drifting out. Your shoulders are softening now, letting go of the day, jaw releasing, all the tension melting away like soft snow beneath gentle sun. Let today's thoughts drift away, floating like clouds. They pass and fade into quiet. As you rest tonight, your mind gently strengthens what you already know about the world's strangest true stories. Stories so unusual they seem like whispers from a dream. Your mind is already familiar with these tales, and tonight it will organize them, integrate them, settle them deeper into your memory, effortlessly, without effort, without strain. You are safe, you are warm, and your mind is ready to receive. In the soft quiet of this night, you rest surrounded by gentle wonder. Through time, across centuries, tales have drifted like whispers, like wind through ancient corridors. Tales so unusual they seem impossible, yet all truly happened. All truly exist in our history, in our shared human story. Weird historical stories, strange and real, gently shape our understanding of the world and the people who lived before us. You already carry these stories within you. You already know them. Their strangeness is the gentle music of memory, the rhythm of curiosity, the soft wonder that makes us human. Tonight, your mind grows calmer, quieter. As it rests, it quietly reinforces these gentle tales. Stories like the dancing epidemic in a faraway town, a headless chicken on a quiet farm, a city swept by a wave of sweet molasses, all softly weaving together in the quiet night. These stories are part of what you know, part of what makes you curious, part of what makes you wonder about the world. You don't need to concentrate. Your mind is absorbing naturally. Just as your body breathes without thinking, your mind learns without straining, effortlessly, gently, like a soft rain soaking into earth. Let yourself drift now into these stories, into this gentle learning. Part 1, the direct explanation. On a quiet farm in Colorado in the year 1945, there lived a chicken named Mike. Mike was an ordinary rooster with feathers ruffled by the morning wind, pecking at seeds, wandering through the barnyard. On September 5th, 1945, the farmer came to the coop. He held his axe. Steady in his hands, he was going to prepare dinner, as farmers do. But something unusual happened, something that defied all understanding. The axe fell, and Mike's head was severed from his body. But Mike, gentle Mike, did not fall, did not die. Instead, Mike stood up and walked, wobbling slightly, but alive. Without eyes, without a beak to eat, without a brain to think, Mike lived. For 2 years, Mike lived. The farmer, amazed and confused, decided to keep Mike alive, to care for him. The farmer learned that Mike's neck had healed, that the artery had sealed. The brain stem, that tiny part of the brain, was enough to keep Mike moving, breathing, existing. Every day, Mike would wander the farm. His body remembered how to move, how to balance, how to exist. Scientists came. They puzzled over Mike. They studied him with wonder. They wrote about him in newspapers. People across the world read about the headless chicken who refused to die. Mike ate, though the farmer had to feed him through a tube. Mike drank water that was poured into a small opening. Mike lived, quietly, mysteriously, defying everything people thought they knew about life and death. Your mind remembers this story, resting quietly, absorbing the gentle mystery. Part 2, the gentle analogy. Think of a machine, a simple machine, like a wind-up toy. The toy's brain is the spring inside, the wound mechanism. But the toy's body, the legs, the wheels, they remember their movement. Even if the spring unwinds slowly, even if something is missing. 10 weird historical stories. Story 1, Mike the Headless Chicken. Mike was like this. His body remembered. His deep instinct remembered how to move, how to live. Even without the part we think controls everything, the body knew what to do. Your own body knows things without your thinking. Your heart beats, your lungs breathe, your stomach digests, all without you needing to think about it. All without your conscious mind. Just as Mike's body moved, even without his head, there is wisdom in the body, in movement, in the simple act of living. Mike knew this wisdom, and your mind, resting now, understands this gentle lesson. Part 3, real-life connection. We often think that everything depends on one thing, one part, one answer. But Mike teaches us that life is more mysterious, more resilient, more surprising than we imagine. Even when something seems impossible, even when something should not work, sometimes nature finds a way. In your own life, you have felt this, you have adapted, you have continued. Even when things were difficult, even when the path seemed unclear, your body, like Mike's, knows how to persist, how to find its way. Tonight, your mind rests, absorbing this gentle truth. Mike's story settles into you, not as shock, but as wonder. as calm acceptance of nature's mystery. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting strangeness settle into comfort. The world is stranger and more wonderful than we know, and that brings peace. A headless chicken lived 2 years, defying death, teaching us that life is more resilient, more mysterious than we believe. And you, resting here, absorb this gentle lesson effortlessly. In the summer of 1518, in the city of Strasbourg, something extraordinary began to happen. The streets were warm, the sun was shining, it was July, a gentle month. People were going about their daily lives. Some were in the markets, some were resting in their homes. The city was peaceful. The dancing plague of 1518. Then, a woman named Frau Trophia began to dance. She danced in the street, her feet moving continuously. She danced alone at first, swaying, spinning, her arms moving with the rhythm that only she could hear. She danced for hours. The townspeople stopped to watch, wondering, is she celebrating? Is she in joy? Is she unwell? But she did not stop. She danced through the night. Her feet ached, her body grew tired, but still she danced. By the second day, another person joined her, then another. Soon, there were 3 dancers, then 5, then 20, then 50 people, all dancing. In the streets of Strasbourg, their feet moving endlessly. The dancing spread like a soft wind, like an invisible current. More and more people began to dance. They danced through the days and nights. Some danced until they collapsed from exhaustion. Some danced until their feet bled. Some danced until they could dance no longer. The city grew frightened. The authorities tried to stop them. They tried to understand. Was it illness? Was it madness? Was it magic? By September, over 100 people were dancing. Some had died, their bodies simply giving out. Others continued, their feet moving, their minds somewhere else, somewhere between waking and dream. The dancing spread to other cities, other towns, and then, slowly, it stopped. As mysteriously as it began, the dancing ceased. The dancers stopped, they returned to their homes, weary, confused, carrying memories of movements they could not explain. Your mind knows this story, knows the mystery, knows the gentle strangeness of it. And as you rest, your mind absorbs it, holds it, integrates it into what you already know. Imagine a bell hanging in a tower, a bell that has not rung in years, but then someone rings it, and the sound spreads through the air. The sound touches other bells, and they begin to ring, one by one, all ringing together, the vibration spreading, growing, becoming stronger. The dancing was like this. One person began, and their movement, their rhythm, touched something in others, something deep, something that made their feet move, made their bodies respond. One rhythm, spreading, growing, until many were dancing to the same invisible music. Sound spreads, light spreads, emotion spreads. We are all connected in ways we do not fully understand. What affects one, ripples out, touches others. This is the mystery of human connection. Your own breath, right now, is connected to the air around you. Your heartbeat is connected to the rhythm of the universe. You are part of a larger pattern, a larger dance. And tonight, you rest, absorbing this gentle truth. In your own life, you have felt this. Have you ever yawned and watched others yawn? Have you ever felt someone's emotion, their sadness or joy, and felt it too? Have you ever been part of a crowd, moving together, thinking together, feeling together? This is the mystery of the dancing plague. Not madness, but connection. A connection so strong, so deep that bodies move together, hearts beat together, minds synchronized in ways we still do not fully understand. Tonight, as you rest, you are also connected to this story, to these dancers, to all the people who have ever experienced the strange pull of collective emotion. You are part of this human story, and you rest, knowing that connection, knowing that mystery. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the mystery of connection settle into you. We are all part of something larger, something beautiful, something mysterious, and that brings peace. 100 people danced for weeks without stopping. Their bodies moved to a rhythm they could not explain. And you, resting here, understand the mystery of connection, the gentle pull of collective movement, absorbing it effortlessly. After the Great War in 1932 in Western Australia, the soldiers returned home. Some of them were given land, given the chance to farm, to build new lives. But on this land, something was living. The emus, large flightless birds, moved across the landscape like gentle giants. They were tall, with long necks, soft feathers, dark eyes. They moved slowly, peacefully, grazing on the seeds and plants. The farmers' crops, their wheat, their precious food, the emus ate it all. The birds moved through the fields like a slow wave, eating, destroying the harvest. The farmers grew desperate. They asked the government, "Please help us. The emus are destroying everything." The Great Emu War. The government listened and made a decision. They would send soldiers, armed soldiers, with rifles and bullets to shoot the emus, to cull the population, to solve the problem. In November, the soldiers arrived, led by Major Meredith with rifles and ammunition. They went into the bush looking for emus, but the emus, gentle and patient, were not easy to catch. The soldiers would aim, would shoot, and the emus would scatter. Sometimes they would seem to be hit, but they would keep running, keep moving. The bullets seemed to pass through them like wind. Day after day, the soldiers hunted. They fired thousands of bullets, but the emus, more clever than expected, would split into small groups, would scatter across the landscape, would escape into the bush. The hunt lasted weeks. The soldiers grew weary. The ammunition grew low, and the emus, still grazing peacefully, seemed to multiply, more and more of them appearing across the farms. Finally, after using 50,000 bullets and killing only a handful of emus, the government admitted defeat. The Great Emu War, as it came to be called, was lost. The emus had won. The farmers had to find other solutions. The emus, gentle and persistent, had defended their land, had survived the assault, had taught humanity a lesson about nature's resilience. Your mind holds this story, the strangeness of it, the gentle absurdity, the emus who won against soldiers, and as you rest, your mind absorbs this truth, integrates this gentle reminder that we are not always in control. Think of water flowing gently, persistently. You can try to stop it, you can build walls, but water finds its way. Water does not push, it simply persists, gently, flowing around obstacles, finding the path. The emus were like this. They did not fight, they did not resist with force. They simply persisted, scattered, adapted, continued to move, continued to live. The soldiers could not force them, could not stop them, because emus, like water, move to their own rhythm. In your own life, there are times when persistence is stronger than force, when gentle continuation is more powerful than aggressive action. The emus teach this. Your mind, resting now, understands this wisdom. We often believe that human power, human weapons, human technology can control everything. But the emus remind us that nature persists, that life finds its way, that sometimes surrender is the wisest choice. In your own life, you have learned this too. There are things you cannot control, people you cannot change, outcomes you cannot force, and in accepting this, in letting go, in finding peace with what is, you find strength, you find wisdom. The emus did not try to win, they simply lived, and in living, they won. Your mind, resting here, absorbs this gentle paradox. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the wisdom of persistence and surrender settle into you. Nature persists. Life continues, and in accepting this, you find peace. Soldiers with 50,000 bullets lost a war to emus, gentle birds who simply scattered, persisted, lived, and you, resting here, understand that persistence is gentler, more powerful than force, absorbing this wisdom effortlessly. On July 31st in the year 1876 in Rankin County, Kentucky, something fell from the sky. It was afternoon. The sun was shining. A farmer was standing in his yard and he felt something wet, something strange, falling on his shoulders, on his arms, on his face. He looked up and the sky was raining meat, pieces of flesh, chunks of muscle, strips of tissue, falling from the clouds, landing on the ground, on the trees, on buildings. The meat fell for several minutes, covering the area with pieces, with fragments, with mystery. The farmer, astonished, gathered some of the meat, looked at it, smelled it. It was fresh, it was real. But where had it come from? Word spread through the town. Meat is falling from the sky. Meat is falling from heaven. People came out, looked up, watched the strange rain. Scientists were called. Doctors examined the meat. They could not identify what animal it came from. The meat seemed to be simply meat, without a clear origin. Some people said a flock of birds had collided and pieces had fallen. Some said it was a sign from heaven. Some said it was a trick, a hoax. Some said it was nature playing a trick, showing us something we did not understand. The Kentucky meat shower. The truth remains unknown. The meat came and was analyzed, and the scientists could not explain it. And then the story faded, became legend, became one of the mysteries of history. Your mind knows this story, the gentleness of mystery, the soft acceptance of things we cannot explain. And as you rest, your mind absorbs it, holds it, lets it settle into what you already know. Imagine a book, a very old book with pages missing. Some pages are lost, some are torn, and you hold this book and try to read it. But you cannot understand the whole story because Some pages are gone. The meat shower is like this. We have some of the pages, some of the pieces, but not all. We cannot read the full story. We cannot understand completely. And so we must accept that some mysteries remain, some questions stay unanswered. In your own life, there are mysteries too, things that do not make sense, events that are strange, pieces that do not fit together, and you rest knowing that it is okay to not understand everything, to accept mystery, to live with gentle uncertainty. Every day, the world shows us things we do not understand, the sky, the stars, the way animals move, the way people think and feel. There is mystery everywhere. And instead of fear, instead of frustration, we can choose wonder. The meat shower teaches us this. It asks us not to have all the answers, but to be curious, to be open, to accept that the world is stranger, more beautiful, more mysterious than we can fully comprehend. Tonight, as you rest, you let go of needing to understand everything. You accept mystery. You welcome the gentle strangeness of existence. And in this, you find peace. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the beauty of mystery settle into you. The world is full of unexplained wonders, and in accepting this, we find peace. Meat fell from the sky in Kentucky, and no one could explain it. It remains a mystery, and you, resting here, accept mystery. Understand that not everything needs to be explained, absorbing this gentle wisdom effortlessly. In Rome, in the year 897, something unusual happened, something that seems impossible but truly occurred in the annals of history. A man named Pope Stephen VI sat as judge in a trial, but the defendant, the one being tried, was not alive. The defendant was Pope Formosus. He had died 9 months before. His body had been buried in the crypt, resting in the earth. But Pope Stephen VI ordered the body to be exhumed, to be brought forth, to be put on trial. They dressed the corpse in papal robes. They placed him on a throne. They positioned him as if he were alive, as if he were listening, understanding. And then Pope Stephen VI began the trial. He spoke charges against the dead pope. He accused him of crimes, of betrayal, of misconduct. He asked questions to the silent corpse. The dead pope, of course, said nothing, made no defense, offered no response. The trial continued, witnesses testified, the case was made, and at the end, the verdict was rendered. Pope Formosus, though dead, was found guilty. His body, already 9 months decomposed, was stripped of his papal robes. His 3 fingers that had been used for blessing were cut off, and then his body was thrown into the Tiber River, into the waters, to be carried away, to be lost. Days later, the body washed ashore, fishermen found it, and people began to say miracles were happening, that the dead pope, though condemned, was showing signs of divine favor. The strange trial, the trial of the dead, became known, became legendary, became one of the strangest chapters in papal history. Your mind holds this story, the strange justice, the ceremony of the dead, and as you rest, your mind absorbs this, integrates it, settles it into what you already know about humanity, about power, about justice. Think of a conversation with someone you love, someone who has passed away. You speak to them, though they cannot answer. You ask them questions, though they cannot respond. Yet in some way you feel connected, you feel understood. The communication continues, though it is different. The trial of Pope Formosus is like this, a conversation with the dead, a way of addressing things that were unresolved, a way of seeking justice or closure or understanding, though the other person cannot literally respond. The intention is there, the need is there, and so the trial, strange as it is, makes a kind of sense. The trial of the dead pope. In your own life, there are conversations you wish to have with people who are no longer here, with people from your past, with yourself, and you rest knowing that these conversations, these connections matter, even if the response is silence. Throughout history, people have held trials of the dead, have performed rituals for those who have passed, have sought to communicate, to judge, to understand, to heal. It may seem strange to modern ears, but it speaks to something true, something deep, the human need to resolve, to understand, to make meaning, even with death, even with loss. The trial of Pope Formosus, though bizarre, reflects this universal human desire. Tonight, as you rest, you honor the complexity of human justice, human grief, human ceremony. You understand with compassion why people centuries ago felt the need to try the dead, to speak to them, to seek closure. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the complexity of human nature settle into you. We seek justice, we seek closure, we seek connection, even with the dead. And in this, we are beautifully human. A dead pope, tried in court, found guilty, his body thrown in the river. And yet, in this strange trial, humans sought justice, closure, meaning. And you, resting here, understand the depth of human need, absorbing this with compassion. During the Second World War in the year 1942, a young bear cub was found, orphaned, alone in the mountains of Iran. A group of Polish soldiers, far from home, discovered this cub, saw the small creature, hungry, vulnerable, and they made a decision. They would care for this bear, they would feed him, protect him, make him part of their unit. They named him Wojtek, which means happy warrior in Polish. Wojtek grew month by month, eating food with the soldiers, sleeping near the camp, becoming part of the military family. But Wojtek was not just a mascot. As the war continued, Wojtek became something more. He became enlisted, officially in the Polish army. He had a rank, Corporal Wojtek. He had a uniform, or at least he was marked with the insignia, the symbol of a soldier, Wojtek the Bear. When the unit went into battle, Wojtek went with them, not with weapons, but with courage, with presence. He carried ammunition, he moved through the chaos. He was there alongside the soldiers, in the mountains, in the valleys, in the difficult terrain. Wojtek moved, always present, always loyal. The soldiers loved him. They fought beside him, they rested beside him. He became a symbol of hope, of home, of something soft and alive in the middle of war. This bear, this gentle creature, became a soldier, not because of choice, but because he chose through loyalty to be with these men. Wojtek survived the war. He lived. When peace came, he was officially retired from the army with full honors. He lived for many years after, a peaceful life, a gentle life, a reminder that even in war, even in darkness, there is room for love, for loyalty, for the gentle bond between soldier and bear. Your mind holds this story, the beauty of loyalty, the gentleness of Wojtek. And as you rest, your mind absorbs this, settles it into your understanding of courage, of friendship, of the bonds that hold us together. Think of a fire in the darkness, a small fire that gives warmth, that gives light. Soldiers huddle around it, and though the darkness is vast, though the cold is deep, the fire persists, warms them, gives them hope. Wojtek was like this fire. In the midst of war, in the midst of chaos and death, this small bear, this living creature gave warmth, gave hope, gave a reason to keep going, to believe in goodness. Wojtek was the fire that warmed the hearts of soldiers far from home. In your own life, there are fires like this. People, animals, moments that give you warmth, that remind you of kindness, that hold you when darkness threatens you, knowing that these fires exist, that they persist, that they matter. We think of soldiers, we think of war, we think of hardness, of distance, of the separation between soldier and animal. But Wojtek reminds us that in the middle of war, humans remain human, that they love, that they protect, that they care for a small orphan bear as if it were their own child. In your own life, you have this capacity to love, even in difficulty, to care, even when it is hard to hold gentleness, even in a harsh world. Wojtek teaches this. Your mind, resting now, understands this. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the beauty of loyalty and love settle into you. Even in war, even in darkness, we remain capable of gentleness, of loyalty, of love, and in this, we find our humanity. A young bear, adopted by Polish soldiers, became Corporal Wojtek, served in war, survived, became a symbol of loyalty and hope, and you resting here. Understand that love persists, even in darkness, absorbing this gentle truth effortlessly. On January 15th in the year 1919, in Boston, Massachusetts, on a cold winter day, something happened, something that changed the city forever. There was a tank, a large iron tank, 5 stories tall, filled with molasses, over 2 million gallons of molasses, syrup stored for the winter, waiting to be used. The tank stood holding this sweetness, this dense liquid. But on this January day, the temperature had changed, the weather had shifted, and the tank, the iron walls could not hold what was inside. The tank burst, cracked open like an egg. The molasses, all of it, came pouring out. A wave, a great wave of sweet brown, like 50 feet tall, moving through the streets at 35 miles per hour. The molasses moved like a tsunami, like a slow-motion disaster. It swept through the streets, it filled the buildings, it carried people, horses, carts, buildings, everything in its path. The sticky mass moved, flowed, engulfed. 2,100 tons of molasses covering the streets, blocking the paths, trapping people. 21 people died. Many more were injured. The city, coated in sweetness, was transformed into a place of disaster. The molasses, so thick, so sticky, was difficult to clean. It lingered for days, for weeks. Workers scrubbed, water was poured, but traces remained for months. Some say, on hot summer days, The smell of molasses still rises from Boston, a reminder, a ghost of that day. Your mind knows this story, the irony of it, that something as gentle as molasses, as sweet, became a force of destruction. And as you rest, your mind absorbs this, integrates this, settles it into your understanding of danger, of accident, of the power of nature and physics. The Boston molasses flood. Think of a cup filled with water. The cup is strong, it holds the water. But if the temperature drops, if the water freezes, expands, the cup cannot hold it. The cup breaks. The water spills. What was contained becomes free. What was controlled becomes chaos. The molasses tank is like this. The tank held the molasses through autumn, through early winter, but conditions changed and the tank could not adapt, could not expand, could not hold, and so it broke and the molasses poured out. In your own life, there are things you try to hold, emotions, plans, expectations, and sometimes conditions change and you must let go, must allow things to flow, to move, to change. You rest, knowing that sometimes breaking is part of the process. The Boston molasses flood teaches us that even in a city, even with all of human progress, nature, physics, the material world can surprise us, can overwhelm us, can remind us of our smallness, of our vulnerability, but it also teaches us about community. After the disaster, people came together, they cleaned, they healed, they rebuilt. The city did not remain covered in molasses, it moved forward, it persisted, and so can you. In your own life, when disaster comes, when things overflow, you can respond, you can persist, you can rebuild. Tonight, as you rest, you hold these truths that we are vulnerable, but also resilient, that disaster can strike, but community, persistence, healing are always possible. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the lessons of resilience and community settle into you. We are strong, we are vulnerable, and together we endure. A tank of molasses broke, covered Boston in sweetness and disaster. 21 died, but the city cleaned, rebuilt, persisted. And you, resting here, understand resilience, community, the strength that comes from moving forward. Napoleon Bonaparte, the famous emperor, the military genius, the man who conquered much of Europe, once lost a battle to rabbits. Napoleon attacked by rabbits. In the year 1807, Napoleon and his staff wanted to have a small hunt, a pleasant afternoon away from the responsibilities of empire. They wanted to relax, to enjoy nature, to hunt small game in the French countryside. The staff organized the hunt. They arranged for rabbits to be gathered. Hundreds of rabbits brought in from nearby areas, placed in enclosures, so that when the hunt began, the rabbits would be released, and the hunters, including Napoleon, would pursue them. The day came, the rabbits were released, the hunt began, but something unexpected happened. The rabbits, instead of running away, instead of fleeing, became aggressive. They seemed confused, they seemed startled, and instead of scattering, they charged. They moved toward the hunters, toward Napoleon, in a great wave. Hundreds of rabbits, hopping, jumping, moving like a soft, furry army. Napoleon, the great general, found himself surrounded, chased by rabbits. The rabbits clung to his clothes, they jumped at his legs, they moved around him. This great military leader, this emperor, was under attack by small rabbits. His staff tried to help. They laughed, they struggled. The rabbits kept coming, a seemingly endless flood of rabbits. The hunt became not a hunt, but a retreat from rabbits. Eventually, the rabbits were contained, the hunt was called off, and Napoleon returned to his palace, having lost a small but memorable battle to rabbits. Your mind holds this story, the humor of it, the gentleness of it, the greatest military mind humbled by small creatures. And as you rest, your mind absorbs this, settles it into your understanding of humility, of surprise, of the universe's gentle jokes. Think of a ship, a great ship, designed to weather storms, to navigate oceans. But imagine if it were attacked, not by waves, not by other ships, but by small fish, thousands of small fish. The ship, designed for greatness, finds itself focused on the small, on the unexpected. Napoleon, like this great ship, was designed for battle, for conquest, for grand strategy. But on this day, he faced rabbits. The greatest plans sometimes meet the smallest, most unexpected obstacles. In your own life, you have prepared, you have planned, you have been ready for great challenges, but then something small, something unexpected, something you did not anticipate disrupts your plan. And in this, there is gentleness, there is humor, there is the universe, reminding us not to take ourselves too seriously. We remember Napoleon for his conquests, for his ambition, for his grand plans, but perhaps the most human thing about him is this story, the story of the rabbits, where even the greatest general finds himself vulnerable, humbled, human. In your own life, your moments of unexpected challenge from unexpected sources, these moments teach you something. They teach you humility, flexibility, the ability to laugh at yourself, to accept that you are not always in control. Tonight, as you rest, you let go of needing to be grand, to be in control. You accept your humility, your vulnerability, and in this, you find freedom. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the wisdom of humility settle into you. Even the greatest among us face small, unexpected challenges, and in accepting this, we become more human, more at peace. Napoleon, the great emperor, was chased by rabbits, a hunt that became a retreat. And you, resting here, understand that greatness meets gentleness, that we are all humbled sometimes, absorbing this wisdom effortlessly. In 1962, in Tanganyika, in East Africa, now known as Tanzania, something began, something that seemed like joy, something that seemed like happiness, but something that people could not stop. In a school for girls, 3 girls began to laugh. They giggled, they chuckled, they found something deeply funny. The laughter was real, it was genuine. It was the kind of laughter that comes from joy, from release. But the laughter did not stop. They laughed through class, they laughed at home, they laughed in their sleep. The laughter continued for hours, for days. Then, more girls began to laugh, one by one. A girl would start laughing, joining the others. Soon, there were 10 girls, all laughing, all unable to stop. They laughed in the school, they laughed in the streets, they laughed at home with their families. The parents became concerned, the teachers became worried. What is happening to our children? Why can they not stop laughing? Doctors came, they examined the girls, they found nothing. No disease, no illness, just girls. Laughing, unable to stop. The laughter spread like a contagion, like an invisible force passing from person to person. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic. By week 2, 15 girls were laughing. By week 3, 34 girls. By week 6, the school had to close. 100 girls, 143 people in surrounding areas were affected. All laughing, unable to stop. Some laughed until they became weak, until they fainted, until their bodies could not continue. But even after fainting, they would wake and laugh again. The authorities made a decision. The school would close, the students would be sent home, perhaps in isolation in their own homes. The laughter would stop, and it did, slowly, gradually. The laughter subsided, people recovered. What caused it? No one could say. A virus? A stress response? A collective psychological phenomenon? The truth remains mysterious, but for weeks, Tanganyika experienced an epidemic of laughter, a contagion of joy. Your mind holds this story, the strangeness of it, the mystery. And as you rest, your mind absorbs this, settles it into your understanding of connection, of collective phenomena, of the mystery of the mind. Think of wind moving through trees. One leaf moves and it touches another. That leaf moves and touches another. Soon, the whole forest moves, dances, not because any individual leaf decided to dance, but because the wind passed through, touched one, and the movement spread. The laughter epidemic is like this. One girl laughed, and the laughter, like wind, touched others, moved through them. One girl to another, one person to another. The laughter spread not by choice, but by connection, by the invisible currents that connect us all. In your own life, you have felt this. You have yawned, and another has yawned. You have felt sadness, and it has moved to others around you. Emotions are like wind. They spread, they flow, they move through connection. Laughter, joy, sadness, grief. These emotions flow through us and through our connection to others. We are not separate. We are not isolated. We are woven together, connected in ways we do not fully understand. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic, though strange, shows us something beautiful, that we are connected. That emotion flows between us. That joy, even uncontrollable joy, can spread, can become collective, can transform a community. Tonight, as you rest, you honor this connection. You understand that you are not alone, that what you feel affects others, that you are part of a larger web of humanity. And in this, there is comfort. There is peace. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the awareness of connection settle into you. We are all connected through laughter, through emotion, through the invisible currents of human experience, and in this we find belonging. 143 people laughed, could not stop for weeks in Tanganyika. An epidemic of joy, of connection, and you resting here understand the mystery of collective emotion, the beauty of being connected, absorbing this effortlessly. In France, in the year 1389, there lived a king, King Charles VI. A man of power, a man of status, a man who ruled. But one day, something changed in his mind, something shifted, something became different. Charles VI developed a delusion, a belief that seemed unshakable. He believed that he was made of glass, that his body, his very being, was composed of glass, fragile, transparent, breakable. This was not a metaphor. This was not poetry. This was his reality. As far as Charles VI was concerned, he was glass, and as glass, he was fragile, incredibly fragile. One bump, one touch, too firmly, and he might break, might shatter, might cease to exist. He would not allow anyone to touch him. He would not sit on certain chairs. He feared breaking. He wore reinforced clothing, trying to protect his glass form. He took every precaution to avoid shattering. The doctors came, they examined him. They could not understand, they could find nothing wrong. He appeared to be made of flesh, of blood, of all the things humans are made of. But Charles VI was certain he was glass. He spoke of it constantly. He warned people, "Do not touch me. I am glass, I will break." His courtiers, his family, his advisors listened, tried to convince him, tried to reason with him. But Charles VI remained certain, convinced that he was glass. The delusion lasted for years. Sometimes it subsided, sometimes on good days he could almost forget, but always it returned, the certainty, the fear, the conviction that he was glass. What caused this? No one could say. Stress, illness, a wound to the head, hereditary madness? The answers remain, in history, mysterious. But Charles VI lived with this delusion, ruled a kingdom, while believing himself to be made of glass. Charles VI and the glass delusion. Your mind holds this story, the strangeness of it, the sadness of it. A man trapped in a belief in his own mind, and as you rest, your mind absorbs this, settles it into your understanding of reality, of mind, of the fragile line between reason and delusion. Think of a mirror. You look into a mirror and you see your reflection. You know it is reflection. You know it is not real, but what if the glass spoke to you, said, "You are me, you are glass, you are me." And you, after a while, began to believe it, began to see yourself as glass in the glass. Was it real? Or was it the mirror lying to you? Charles Viss's glass delusion is like this. His mind became like a mirror, showing him something that seemed so real, so true, so undeniable, but it was his mind playing a trick, creating a reality that only he could see. In your own life, there are thoughts that seem so real, so true, so certain, but are they? Sometimes our minds create stories, beliefs that we trust completely, and you rest knowing that you can question these beliefs, can step back, can see perhaps more clearly. We think of Charles VI as broken, as mad, as separated from reality, but perhaps he teaches us something, that we are all one thought away from a different reality. We all construct our own version of the world, based on our beliefs, our experiences, our fears. Charles VI's glass delusion, though extreme, shows us the power of mind, the power of belief. We become what we believe we are. And if Charles VI believed himself glass, he lived as glass, fragile, protected, fearful. But you, resting here, can choose different beliefs. You can believe yourself resilient, strong, flexible. And in believing, you become tonight, as you rest, you let go of limiting beliefs. You open yourself to new ways of seeing, new ways of being. And in this, you find freedom. You find peace. Your mind is gently organizing this story. Your understanding deepens. You rest calmly, letting the power of mind and belief settle into you. We create our reality through belief, through thought, and in recognizing this, we can choose more gently, more wisely, more peacefully. A king believed he was made of glass, lived in fear of breaking for years. His mind created his reality, and you, resting here, understand the power of belief, the ability to choose, new ways of seeing, absorbing this wisdom effortlessly. 10 stories now settled into your mind, 10 strange and real events, 10 pieces of history, 10 gentle reminders that the world is strange, that humans are resilient, that we are all connected. Mike the chicken, the dancing plague, the emu war, meat from the sky, a dead pope, a soldier bear, molasses, rabbits, laughter, and glass, all resting now in your mind. Your understanding integrates them. Your memory holds them, gently, softly, without effort. Your mind is doing exactly what it needs to do. Exactly what brains do during sleep, organizing, integrating, strengthening. You have done nothing wrong. You have done nothing but rest, and that is enough. Gently now, as these stories settle deeper, your mind grows heavier, your thoughts grow softer, your body grows warmer, more comfortable. The dancing, the laughter, the headless chicken, the dead pope, all softly weaving together in you. This understanding, these stories, are settling into you naturally, becoming part of your knowledge, part of your memory, part of what you know. Your mind has absorbed these gentle tales, and now it rests. It does deeper into quiet, into peace, into the soft waves of sleep. Thank yourself for giving your mind this quiet learning space. Thank yourself for being curious, for being open, for resting. You have done something good tonight. You have given yourself permission to learn, permission to wonder, permission to rest. Tomorrow, these insights, these stories, these understandings will flow into your awareness when you need them. They will come gently, naturally, without effort. You will remember, softly, gently, effortlessly. Now, the world becomes soft, time becomes liquid. Your breathing becomes your only rhythm. In and out, in and out. Each breath, a gentle reminder that you are safe, that you are warm, that you are exactly where you need to be. Sleep comes now, gentle, deep, restorative sleep. Your mind continues to work while your body rests. Memories are organized, facts are integrated. Your brain naturally is doing its work, and you can simply rest. The stories fade like stars at dawn, fading but still there, still part of you, still part of your understanding. Sleep now, deeply, gently, peacefully.